If you're fascinated by the world's mysteries, you've probably heard the legend of the Mary Celeste. This American two-masted merchant ship was discovered on December 4, 1872, in the Atlantic Ocean. When found, the ship was completely deserted, as if abandoned, even though the weather was favorable and the crew were experienced, capable sailors. It had been at sea for a month before being found, and there was enough food and water for over 6 months on board. The cargo was almost undamaged, and the crew's personal belongings and valuables were still in place. The strange thing is that there were no signs of a struggle or violence, while the entire crew, including the captain, his wife, and their young daughter, had vanished without a trace. From that moment on, nothing was ever heard from them again. This mysterious disappearance has become one of the greatest maritime mysteries of all time. The mystery of the Mary Celeste probably began the moment it was born. The ship, originally named the Amazon, was built in Nova Scotia in 1861. From the moment it entered the maritime trade, it seemed to be plagued by bad luck. One of its later owners even called it the most unfortunate ship he had ever known. The first captain, Robert McClellan, died of pneumonia on the first voyage. The early days of the Amazon's operation were a nightmare for the crew, as it was constantly hit by accidents, collisions, and fires. It wasn't until some time later that the Amazon had a few rare, peaceful days. For 6 years it was profitable without any problems. However, the short-lived joy faded away, and bad luck returned as if by a predetermined fate. In 1867, the ship ran aground in a storm and was almost completely destroyed. With no hope left, its owner decided to sell the Amazon for only $1,750. The new owner had to spend nearly $9,000 to repair it and renamed it the Mary Celeste in 1868. The new captain, Benjamin Spooner Briggs, was a respectable man who never drank and was very religious. He and some others invested more money to perfect the ship. Briggs probably hoped the Mary Celeste would bring a new beginning, but he didn't foresee the tragedy that awaited. The last voyage and a strange discovery. The Mary Celeste's fateful voyage began on November 3, 1872. On board were 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol from Meissner Ackerman & Co. The cargo was worth about $35,000. Captain Briggs was optimistic. He even brought his wife and 2-year-old daughter along. On November 5th, the Mary Celeste set sail for Genoa, Italy. At the same time, another ship named the Dei Grazia also left New York on a similar journey. On December 4th, the Mary Celeste was found drifting by the Dei Grazia. First mate Oliver DeVoe was the first to board the Mary Celeste. He found a strange scene. The ship had been abandoned even though it was in good condition. The entire ship was in complete disarray and damp. A pump was still working, with a lot of water on the decks and about 1 meter of water in the hold. All the sails were up and in good condition. The cargo was intact. The crew's personal belongings like clothes, shoes, and pipes were still on board. There was enough food and water for 6 months. The forward hatches and the wheelhouse were wide open, but the cargo hold was closed. The clock was not running, and the compass was destroyed. Most importantly, the sextant and marine chronometer were missing, suggesting the ship had been abandoned deliberately. The only lifeboat seemed to have been launched on purpose rather than stolen. This showed that the crew had left the ship on their own. All the ship's documents were missing, except for the captain's logbook. There were no signs of violence. Theories and a final fate. This strange discovery led to countless explanations. The first and most plausible theory is related to the alcohol the Mary Celeste was transporting. The ship carried 1,701 barrels of alcohol. When inspected, 9 barrels were empty. These barrels were made of red oak, a porous wood that could have allowed alcohol vapor to escape. The vapor could have accumulated in the cargo hold, and a collision of the barrels could have created a spark, causing an explosion. The explosion wasn't powerful enough to destroy the barrels or cause charring, but it was enough to panic the crew and make them abandon the ship. They might have gotten into the lifeboat, tied a rope to the ship, and hoped the fire would pass. A storm then came, and the rope could have broken, causing the lifeboat to drift and sink. However, this theory has a major flaw. The cargo hold was closed when the Dei Gratia found it, and the Dei Gratia crew didn't smell any alcohol vapor in the hold. Some others believe the crew mutinied and killed Captain Briggs and his family. But there was no evidence of a struggle, and Captain Briggs was known to be a respectable man. Another theory suggests the food on board was poisoned, causing hallucinations that made the crew abandon the ship. But this theory was disproven because the Dei Gratia crew ate the same food for over a week without any strange occurrences. After being found, the Mary Celeste was brought to Gibraltar. There, a naval official turned the simple rescue into a trial of the Dei Gratia's crew. He made baseless accusations, claiming the 2 captains had conspired to defraud the Mary Celeste's crew. Luckily, these accusations were not supported by evidence. After this event, the Mary Celeste became a cursed ship. For the next 13 years, the ship changed hands 17 times and fell into a dire state. On January 3, 1885, the last owner, a man named Parker, deliberately sank the ship in the Caribbean to claim insurance money. However, the plan failed because the ship would not sink. Just 3 months later, the final captain also died under mysterious circumstances. The fate of the people on the Mary Celeste will probably never be known. The story of the Mary Celeste is not just a mysterious disappearance, but also a reminder of human fragility in the face of the ocean's power and the mysteries that remain unsolved. What do you think about the unfortunate ship nickname? Were these consecutive accidents just a coincidence?